Hey yo YouTube, so we do it all straight from the garage. Got a little different situation today. This is a Coleman CT200u, and the person that has me working on it said that whenever you started it up, the idle would go crazy. It would just be real high. So I started fooling with it, and I've already done this, but I'm gonna just walk y'all through it just in case anybody else has any issues like this. What I noticed was while the idle was high, come down here, I could see this spring and this line are connected to the governor, and I noticed that it was pulled back from the carburetor, meaning that it was never in an idle position. It was always at full throttle. So, and you can see it right there. So what I did is I pulled everything apart, and this is really self-explanatory, but I'll just go ahead and do it since I already got everything back together. Kind of walk you guys through this, getting this problem fixed. Basically, in order to fix this problem, from everything that I've researched and everything I saw, the only way to really fix it is to bypass the governor. I don't know how the governor works as far as when it knows it's at idle or when it knows it's not, but oh, right now I'm just taking off the carburetor. Well, taking off the top of the carburetor. This is the filter housing. It's got two Phillips head screws in it. But yeah, so I noticed that the governor was never in an idle position. I don't know why. And I know to actually take the governor off, you got to take the engine apart and do all kind of other stuff. So wasn't going to get into all that. By deleting the governor, you actually get more power, get a little bit better throttle response. So if you guys are taking this apart now, you'll know that you had this sitting in here. Okay, so with the gas tank off, I have my throttle cable here. So what I did with my throttle cable is I put the clamp from that assembly in here with the cable, clamped it down, and I'm gonna have to take it back out, but anyway. And then you want to run your throttle cable right here. So what I did at the end of it is I took a pair of needle nose pliers and I just pressed down on it and just to try to make that bend. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stick it in this hole with this spring. So you'll have two springs in this hole, and hopefully with that spring and this spring together, it'll stay in. But if not, I may, like I said, have to put some solder or something on it just to keep it so it doesn't move. And what this spring will do right here, this spring will keep the governor pushed back, which will in turn keep your throttle pushed forward, keep your throttle adjustment in the idle position. And then whenever you hit the throttle, it will move it forward. You let the throttle go, the spring will pull it back. So that solved that problem for me. And you're not going to use any of these parts that were here. Only part you're going to use is this. So hopefully that helps somebody. I'm going to go ahead and put everything back together, and I'll keep the camera running the best I can just to kind of show you guys what I'm doing. So if you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments, but bypassing this governor seemed to fix that problem. And Coleman's going to have to figure out a solution if they're going to keep selling these things, because I've read online about a bunch of people having the same issue, and it's not cool. So okay, and then another thing to note is when you do this, you might want to take your throttle, because mine is running on the left side of the fork here. I'm gonna move it to the right side, so that way it's not in the way of anything. So I'm gonna move it to the right side, and moving it to the right side, what it does is it keeps it away from the muffler. I'm gonna go ahead and zip tie it. I already had a zip tie to this side, so that way you can still have your range of motion for your handlebars and you're not hitting that muffler. All right, now I got my cable in. Looks pretty good. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna put this spring in this hole so I have some tension on it. And the reason that I bent it more is so it'll go all the way to the bottom. Hold on one sec. Okay, like I said, the reason I bent it more is so I can get it to stay for now. while I adjust this cable. When I adjust this cable, I don't want there to be too much slack, but I want there to be enough to where when I get on the throttle, it's gonna do what it's supposed to do. So I'm gonna adjust it about right there. I'm gonna put my clamp in and I'll be back. All right, so I got my clamp in. I tightened it down enough, but I didn't want to tighten it down too much to where it would crush the metal lining in here, but just so it wouldn't move. And now you can see, hit the throttle, it comes back, I let it go, it pops back out. And now you can also see that my throttle here on the carburetor is sitting where it's supposed to be. So when I hit it, it comes out. When I let it go, it goes right back. So getting rid of the governor or bypassing the governor seems to be the issue, the workaround to the issue. I hope this video helps somebody, and everything else is basically in reverse. Stick your hose back on the tank, put your tank back in. Make sure, okay, for this wire on your tank right there, I'm gonna run it right around that post, and then when I bolt it down, that'll hold it in place. So I'm gonna run that wire right around this post at the rear of the gas tank. But yeah, reverse order, just make sure everything's hooked back up, and you should be off and rolling. You got any questions, leave them in the comments. Hopefully this helps somebody. You just want to be safe. You don't want nothing to throw you off or throw you into a tree like I've seen on a lot of these different forums online. But I didn't see the fix. So for me, doing this is the fix for me. And once I get everything put back together, I'll go ahead and start it up and show you guys how everything works. All right, YouTube, so got everything back running. Everything hooked up right. If I hit the throttle, I'm off to the races. So see, everything works the way it's supposed to. And I got no more high idle at high idle at throttle. Well, you know what I mean. It's not revving high at idle. When you get to this point, if it won't start, you might have to give it a little gas. Basically, to alleviate the problem, what I did was I removed this. It's a 8mm bolt that goes here. I took that 8mm bolt out, and the 8mm bolt that goes here, I took that bolt out. Then I took the nut off of here. It's a 10mm nut. Took it off, and it had 2 plastic shims or whatever. But basically, I removed this assembly completely. Okay. And then what I did with the throttle is this clamp right here was here. So I took that off and I bolted the clamp into the cable here. And then I got the cable running, and I'm gonna take the gas tank off just to show you guys, but basically you delete all of that big system that's here, you delete it and take the cable off. The only thing you're gonna need from that is this clamp, which is on the end, the beginning of that assembly, and the spring that ran under here, and I'll show all you guys that in a second. Hold on one second, let me get this gas tank. All right, to get the gas tank off, up here you got two 10mm bolts, this one here and this one here. Notice that here you have this green cable going here as a ground, and that's what shuts your bike off. So you want to make sure when you put it back together that you put that cable back on there, because what that does is when you hit this switch, it grounds out and it shuts the bike off. So it's real simple to remove these two 10mm bolts up here, and then you got an 8mm up front. I'm gonna get these off and then I'll come back. All right, so I got these 2 bolts off. Oops, sorry about that. Got these 2 bolts off, one here, one here. This is the green wire I was telling you about. Make sure when you put this back together, that goes back on that thread. If not, you won't be able to shut this off. And the only other bolts you got to worry about is this 8mm bolt right here. And once you when you're taking that assembly out, that bolt will have to come out anyway, so it should already be out. But like I said, I've already done this repair. I just felt like it was important for me to come back and do a video. Let me take the spark plug out, to kind of show how I did it. So if anybody else wants to do it, you have the knowledge. And I will say that this definitely took care of the problem. I don't know if it was a spring issue. I don't know if it was a governor issue. But this bike had been sitting for like a year. And I changed the carburetor, put a brand new carburetor on there. And as soon as I started it up, I had to grab it because it wanted to take off. It was choked, so the choke kind of kept it down. But when you take that choke off, this joker just want to roll out. So, all right, so I got those 2 screws out in the back and the one in the front. So lift up on the front and the back, and it comes right out. This is a little clamp under here that holds this wire on. Excuse me, it holds this hose on. It's let me see if I can set the camera down. And then what you can do is come right back here. There's an idle screw right here. You can adjust the idle from this screw to get the idle to where the clutch is not engaging and it's idling at a good clip. So, man, if y'all got any questions, like I said, leave them in the comments. Leave the questions in the comments. Leave the comments in the comments. Let me know what you think. This fix seemed to work. So hopefully those of y'all with these Coleman CT200Us won't have any more issues. Once again, it's You Do It All, straight from the garage. Please like and subscribe, share, do all that good stuff. And I'll try to keep bringing you guys content as I get these vehicles in. It's been real, y'all. Peace.